That's awesome.
I got a settlement today.
Tim, you got a settlement every day,
Congratulations.
All right, Tim. Congratulations.
That's what I'm talking about.
My sellers already signed a couple of days ago. The buyers are gonna sign today, so we get that closed out. First close
awesome.
of the year. And
First one of the year.
Yes.
Okay, awesome, Tim, man. Like you got one every week, brother. We can't keep up
yeah.
with
I mean, the contract just went ratified on the 3rd, and they closed out. I mean, everything went through contingency, so they said, "Hey, let's go ahead and close it up."
Nice.
That's what I'm talking about. Love it.
Congratulations, Tim.
Awesome, awesome. Good, good. Any other quick ones?
Good morning, everybody.
Hey,
Good
Galon.
morning.
Morning, Galon.
Morning.
All right, any other wins? All right, guys, we're in recording mode. Man, we got an awesome call here today. Want to welcome everybody to our Friday Mastermind. This is the Dream Team at eXp Realty. If you're on the Dream Team, y'all make some noise. Dream Team.
Woo!
Yeah.
Dream
All right,
team.
awesome.
Second some theme music,
Yes.
Rob. We need a theme music.
Yeah, I know we need that.
Yeah, that
theme
Rocky.
music, right?
We need that Rocky music.
Awesome, guys. Hey, just a reminder again, in 2022, we're trying to have more cameras on. So, of course, in our recordings, for some reason, that's the way Zoom is set up. They will only show the recorded faces. So, just a reminder, if you can, if you like, turn your cameras on. Well, again, want to welcome everybody, guys. We have some amazing rock star agents who are going to be sharing their listing presentations and kind of their process of what they do this morning. So get ready for an amazing call. We got Jimmy Okanola over in Maryland, Linda Lewis here in Virginia, Northern Virginia, Pam Green. I don't have their bios in front of me, guys, but and Tim Neal. Guys, but they're rock star agents, they're cappers with eXp Realty. I know that all 4 of those guys are going to be icons here. Icon agents are the top agents in the company. So I know they're going to all hit icon this year in 2022. So I'm really excited about these individuals who are going to come and share their listing presentation, listing process. We don't have an order. I know some of y'all was like, Roddy, you're going to share what you do. So I guess I'll kick it off, guys. I'll kick it off with what I do real quickly, and we'll do a deeper dive into it at another point, but let's see. And I want to welcome all of our guests too, guys. I see some guests on the line. Let's give it up for our guests. Thank you all for being on with us today. All of our guests. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, welcome, guys. I'm gonna share my screen real quick, and I'm gonna go through these real quick because I want to get out of the way. I want to bring on these great rock star agents that we have on our lineup today. So here's my screen, guys, real quick, down and dirty. And like I said, I'm not gonna go too deep into these. Can y'all see my slides?
Yes, I can see.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. All right. Especially for our new agents, make sure y'all taking some notes, some screenshots, these. Do your homework. First thing I do, I do my homework, and I got a listing presentation coming up. I do my homework. I check out what's active, what's coming soon, the pending, under contract, the recent sold comps in the neighborhood. I research the area thoroughly. Spend some time doing that homework. Your homework. Don't wake up. Don't start trying to do this an hour before you're supposed to leave to be there. And because that's the time that your printer is not going to print. You're not going to be able to print out your documents. You're not going to be able to print out your stuff. Start at least a day prior or hours ahead of time. Hey guys, I'm gonna give a couple of people access, co-hosts. If you co-host, can you all let some of these folks in who are coming?
Okay.
I'm letting them in.
Co-hosts. Okay. All right. Thank you all. But yeah, guys, do your homework. Set the appointment, confirm appointment. Set it and confirm it. Make sure you're confirming that appointment. Shoot them a text, give them a call, whatever line, communication you guys have established. Give them a call just to confirm that appointment before you head out there. Last week I had a listing presentation probably about an hour away up in Loudoun County. You better know that I confirmed that appointment before I drove an hour away. So you want to make sure you confirm the appointments. A lot of people are working from home and they're getting pulled in meetings and things like that. And so confirm those appointments. When I arrive, I say a little prayer before I get out the car. Anybody else do that? You say a little prayer before you get out the car?
Yes.
I do.
Yep.
Yes, I do.
I say a little prayer before I get out the car. Just start, positive affirmations, positive thoughts that, man, this is mine. This is my listing presentation. I'm actually standing outside of the house sometime. The neighbor, I want them to look out their window and see me looking up at the roof, looking at the house, writing down, taking a couple of notes, I'm going in with the assumptive closing that this listing is mine. I'm not going in there hoping and praying, begging with my head in my hand and hoping and praying they give me the listing. No, I'm there to list that house. That's the mindset that I have. So I go in there, big greeting at the door, smile, get that positive energy just starts flowing, big compliment them on the house, kiss the dog, rub the cat, make good eye contact equally with the husband and the wife, guys. You got to watch that one. Watch that one, guys. Make contact equally with the husband and the wife. You don't want to just be talking directly to the husband. And Mrs. right here, you ain't showing her no love. You ain't giving her no attention. You're minimizing her. You got to be careful of that. If anything, you want to show more, you better make more eye contact with that wife.
Every time.
Yeah, Rodney. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
you're gonna lose that listing.
Go ahead, Rodney. So what you say?
No, I was just gonna say if you don't share, especially with the wife, if she's present, you're gonna lose.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Can I say, Rod, that's cultural though, because I went to a listing presentation. It was from a coworker of mine. She was my coworker, but when I got there, all of the conversation I had was with the husband. She went to the other room. They are very committed Muslims. And, it was just, she interjected a little bit, I kind of tried to engage her, but, everything was redirected. So it's really feeling out the dynamic in the house. Yeah, because in some instances, the wife may be the person that is having most of the conversation, and in other instances it could be the husband. So it's just understanding what the dynamic and who really is making the major calls in the house.
That's good. That's a good point. Good point, guys. So
and also, let me add you something, right, about the Muslim. Yeah, if the woman cover her head, don't look at her. If the woman is Muslim, is not covered, she did not cover her head, that's okay. Like if you say, if you talk to the husband, then you can look at the wife. But if she has a covered hair, so don't look at her. Just talk to the husband.
That's good.
Especially if you're a male. Now,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm talking about the male. Yeah.
Yeah, so especially if you're male, you never want to, but she would not be uncovered. Like when I go over there, she's uncovered when I'm there. But if a male person comes to the house, she definitely covers up.
Yeah, if she did not cover her hair or she doesn't have any cover, that's okay. But if she covered the hair, so that's the Muslim, some of them, they just put the cover on their face.
Right.
The hijab, yeah,
hijab. So for that reason, if you talk to the man, don't look to the woman at all. Okay, they actually will like if you don't look to the wife. If you look twice or 3 times to the wife, they thinking, oh, that is not a good person. I'm not going to deal with that person.
That's good information. That's great.
But the woman is fine. Woman is fine. So woman can contact both way, but the man has to be contact only the husband, not the wife.
That's good.
If she's covered or she has a hijab, but if she doesn't have hijab, that's okay. That means she's understanding everything. The husband is understanding everything, and they don't mind.
That's great insight, Gulam. Thank you. Thank you, Natasha.
And don't shake their hand if they don't extend it.
Yes, that's good.
Don't shake the woman's hand if they do not extend the hand.
Yeah,
that's good.
It's good to know.
It's good cultural things. Yes,
even about the shaking hand. If you want, if she has a cover, you can just handshake with the husband. Don't do anything with the wife.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
They don't mind. They're not thinking. The wife is not thinking why he actually shake with my husband, but why did not? No. They just stay away. So if you can see you're getting inside to the house, the husband is whatever, but the wife has a cover or a hijab. If you handshake with the husband, don't do with the wife.
That's good, man. That's great information.
And the other thing, the left hand in the Muslim culture is known to be unclean. So yeah, so if you're left-handed, because my Muslim clients right now, like they are retraining their left-handed daughter to be right-handed. So you know, it's just being sensitive to whatever situation you may walk into. Depending on the cultural dynamic, just be aware of it and understand that cultures are different, you know, and just, you know, ask the questions and kind of feel out the couple as to how they work. So I don't think it's generally, you know, both. It may be one or the other. So it's just being aware of that.
And one more thing, always take off the shoes, no matter what. When you get inside to the house.
That's good. And any house you guys go into, always offer that at the front door. Would you like me to remove my shoes?
No, and the Muslim
absolutely.
And the Muslim houses don't even ask. Just take off the shoes.
Just take them off.
Just take them off. Don't ask.
That is and that is really important. And I don't think it's just for Muslims. You know, it's in certain cultures, Asian cultures, etc. Removal of the shoes is really important. So you know, you want to be aware of it. So even with shoe covers, no, Tina, you got to remove your shoes. So wear socks and just remove your shoes. Just come prepared to remove your bring socks with you.
Right. Yeah, I always ask because some people just don't wear shoes in the house.
Yeah.
You know, so I ask, you know, I have something with me, you know, some socks or something to put on, so I'll be safe either way.
Man, these were great points. Thank you all so much for bringing that up, Natasha Ghulam, because you don't want to lose the listing at the door.
Right.
Thank y'all. Let me move on here, guys. But that's great, guys. Keep cultures in mind. Again, that's part of that research too, knowing your audience, who you're going to be in front of. So great. I asked for the grand tour when I get there. And this is just me, guys. You're going to hear a lot of other different ways. I'm not saying this is the way. I'm just telling y'all what I do. I asked for the grand tour. I like to go around the house, get the grand tour of the house. I'm highlighting features of the house. I like to talk about and highlight things to let them show to kind of show my professionalism, my expertise that I know about houses. I recognize those granite counters. I recognize that you got recessed lights in here. I recognize the molding that y'all have. I recognize, you know, the coffer ceilings and the ceiling fan. I go around the house just talking like that and and making little notes. You know, it just does something for them to see like, wow, this guy, he's not just, you know, walking around just to be walking around, but he's really taking note of the great things and, you know, and benefits and features of my house. Make recommendations and compliment along the way. If I see something to compliment about, man, I'm complimenting. Oh, wow, these floors are awesome. I love this right here. Man, this is great. Man, I love that you guys are this wash and dryer. Is it staying? Always ask that question, guys. Make sure don't wash and dry or going. But walk through the house, compliment, come back to the dinner table. I break out the comps. I break out, you know, the activity in the neighborhood, the comps, the recommended, talk about the recommended price. So I go over the actives. I show them what's under contract in the neighborhood. I show them what's pending. I show them what's sold in the neighborhood. You know, it's not a whole lot of expires nowadays and withdrawals and all that stuff. I don't really get into that nowadays in this market here, but and then I show them, hey, this is my recommended price. Does that sound about right? Is that what you guys were expecting? Is that what y'all looked at? Because everybody's looking at, you know, other websites. They're looking at Zillow. They're looking at all these home value sites for their properties. Is that kind of what you all were thinking? And then based on my notes, you know, the comps in the area, these homes that sold that's really comparable to yours, this is the price that I recommend. And then I already have my seller net sheet already printed out with that price in there. And I talk about, this is what you would net from the sale. And these are the fees. This is, you know, commissions already included in that right there. I talk about the commission in there. Does that number sound good to you all? Yeah. Okay, good. So how soon do we want to get the house on the market? Then I start talking about my marketing plan. You know, okay, so we need to get the photo shoot. How soon can we get the photo shoot done? You know, so I start having that conversation, explain a listing agreement, And again, assumptive closing, guys. It's like, okay, I start filling out the listing agreement. Okay, so we're gonna put it at this price right here. We're gonna go on the market right here. And okay, here's the first page. You know, I started kind of paraphrasing, and then boom, I put it in front of them to start initial right here. So it's a smooth process. It's a smooth flow with me. Here's the listing agreement right here. So boom, this is from my broker. This is for us to list it. Okay, this the day that we want to get on the market. And again, assumptive closing throughout. Yeah, that's my list person in 5 minutes. So,
Yeah.
so.
There you
go.
You didn't mind. I'm done.
Yeah, no need for us to talk. A plus.
Hey, Rob,
Right, you
one of
walk out with that signed agreement. It's all good.
Hey, that's it.
That's it.
That's
Agreement.
it. And the
Hey,
start
Rob.
date, the go live date.
Yes. Any
I was
questions?
just going, I was just going to say one of the added things that I try to get is what upgrades the client has made to the house. Really walking through, some of the major things that they've. And the other thing is what made them purchase the house in the first place, because it gives me an idea of how to market the house. Because why they bought the house might be another reason why someone else will market the house. And then, one essential question here in the South is it on septic or sewer? And when was the last time they pumped the septic if it's on septic? Because, my clients, my last listing, they ended up with a $4,000 repair because they had never pumped the septic and living there in 10 years. And then I said, you need to have that pump before we put it on the market. And when they finally did, they realized there were many issues with it, and that would have been problematic if it had been discovered during a due diligence period. So, those were that's the type of things that, we bring value to, because I have a whole checklist I go through with my listings to ensure that we're covering all the bases.
Yep. And a lot of that for us, Northern Virginia, that's in our listing agreement. So as you're going through that listing agreement and filling it out with them, you'll be asking those questions, because that's in our futures. That's you'll see septic, it's in public, and but that's a good point.
That's not in our list. That's not.
That's on our seller's disclosure. It's on the seller's property disclosure. We have a different form, but they still need to fill it out.
Yeah, you still have the form with you at the listing appointment, right? Okay. Okay. Guys, I just want to mention this. Make sure you're taking notes on something, on everything somebody says. Like Natasha just mentioned that about the septic. Make sure you're taking little notes. All right, Ghulam, one more question, guys, and then we're gonna bring up our speakers. We got 4 panelists today gonna be giving their presentations.
I have a question.
Yes.
About the seller net sheet. How do we create that? If you can do some presentation for that, or if you can, I'm not sure.
I'll drop the link. I use MBH Settlement Group. They have a great one. I love that one. And there's also one in Bright MLS too.
I'll talk through that on my part if you want.
I have one that I'll share too, that I just created a simple Excel spreadsheet. So I do 3 different models to show them where you want to be priced at. Pick one. They usually pick the highest, but I'll share that too. I'll put it in our group.
That's good, Marcella.
Intraland, internal to EXP title company. They also have an app that does it. So that's another option.
Good. All right, who's that? Who wants to go first? Jimmy, Pam?
I can go first because my presentation is very, very similar to what you do. That's, but the only difference about mine is this. And maybe it's because of the way I typically get my clients. I found a neighborhood. So most of my listing presentation is done the very first time I meet the client. And so it goes something like this. I go into a neighborhood, I knock on your door, we have a conversation. And if you open the door, we have a great conversation. I tell you about what I've sold in the neighborhood. I find out from the client, what is your plans, what is your intentions? And a typical one, I had one and it was like, oh no, I'm not ready to sell, but I'll be thinking about it probably in about 3 months. So I had a great conversation with him about the things to expect, the things to do. Don't overdo anything. This guy was like, I said, hey, he said, no, let's take a walk through the house. So we walked through the house, saw everything, and it's like, he showed me all the things that he's done and all the things that he's got a contractor to do. And it was like, I want to bring a contractor back so I can change all this floor to marble floors and to do this. And I'm getting the Italian tiles and all that. So I let him tell me every single thing he wanted to do. Then I said to him, I said, okay, question for you. What do you think your house is worth right now? And what do you think houses in the neighborhood are selling for? I just sold one here and it was sold for 580. I've got another one down the road that I just got the listing that we're going to be putting on the market. That one's going to be about 630. I said, what do you think your house is worth? I said, oh, by the way, your house is actually the biggest, because I know it was. His house was one of the biggest floor plans in there that was built 25 years ago. And he goes to me, well, if I can get something around, $700,000, that would be great. I said, okay, good. And we started breaking it down. I said, to be honest with you, this in your neighborhood, up to a 2-mile radius over here, the highest that is been on the market that has been sold in the last 6 months is the top end is 675. I said, so you're not far from that number. I said, but if you go ahead and you begin to do these other things that is going to cost you $20, $30, $40,000, you're going to be at the point of diminishing returns. She was like, how do you mean? I said, well, if you're going to live in this house and stay there for the next 20, 30 years, you can do all those things because that's value for you. I said, what is happening in this market and what a lot of people are doing is they'll come in and whatever you do in there, especially when it comes to either carpet or floors, people want to change those things because they want to create a new value for themselves. They want to make it home. You don't want to overdo anything that makes someone now turn around and feel like, this is not my home. I'm living in someone else's dreams. So I was able to have that good conversation with him and he began to understand that. So typically that's the way mine goes. And then once I finish this conversation and I'll say to him, I get a commitment. I said, I know you're going to want to interview other people. However, what is it that you think after this conversation that I've not covered that will say to you, you don't want to hire me? I'm very blunt. What is it? Why would you not want to hire me? He goes to me, why would I not?
Yeah.
He says, you just sold one there. You just get another one on the market. You just told me not to waste my money and the things to do if I'm still going to get about the same money. He said, why would I not? I said, okay. I said, well, it might be because of my commission. I always just come out. I said, because so you're going to get someone that's going to come to you and going to tell you they only charge 1%. I said, you might have a family member who's a realtor. I said, I don't know. I said, my commission is 6% and that pays both sides. Huh? 6%? Isn't that a little bit high? I see things on TV talking about 2%. I said, yes, you do. I said, but why am I charging 6%? I said, I'm charging 6% because I am not, and this is the honest to God truth, part of what I do. I said, when it comes to, when I get back to list your house, I said, I'm going to get the pictures taken professional. I'm going to do all that. I said, when your yard needs to be taken care of, I'm taking care of that. I'm not asking you to pay for anybody to do that. I said, that's part of my job. I said, if I need your entire house clean from top to bottom, I'm hiring the maids to do it. That's what I do. I said, so I'm not going to be nickel and diming you and asking you do this. Oh, now you got to go and take care of that. I said, I take care of every single thing. All I need for you to do, sit back, tell me, Jimmy, this is the range of what we want to, in a net, and I'll show you if we can get there. And we are going to get your house sold in record time. I said, based on this market right now, my expectation is your house is not going to be on this market for 3-4 weeks. I said, the only reason that would happen is maybe we got a contract, we both get greedy and we want to start taking these. And then I said, if we don't get greedy, we market it right and we do the right thing and we take the right kind of offers. I said, your house will be sold in no time. And it's like, well, you know what? I like your attitude. I like the way you're talking about. Let's get it going. I said, okay. When I get out of here, because, now don't forget, this is the first meeting, me just talking to him, right? And he goes to me, I said, when I get out of here, I'm going to get your, agency agreement. I'm going to get it out to you. So now the next things I do while I'm there is I get the correct email, the correct phone number. I get, from him payoff. Just give me a rough estimate of a payoff. I've had conversations with him about how much is he thinking about, netting. So I know all of these things. So when I go and I do my market analysis, I can get everything to him. I can, show him facts that he's seeing with the seller net sheet. And I typically, a second scenario will be in that particular that if it says I have time, I sit down and I create the listing agreement because I already have a template of a listing agreement in there, and I just do it right there. It takes me 10 minutes. and I do it right there and then. We go through the whole thing and it's done. Those are kind of like typically the way mine goes, because I formed the neighborhood. I already know where I'm trying to go, and I know the general dollar amount that those houses are selling for. So I don't just go to a place that I don't know. And that is also to the effect of what Rod was saying. I know the neighborhood. I know what prices are, because you can really miss a lot if you know a neighborhood prices are like 700 or 800 or a million or whatever. You don't go in there and telling them, oh, we can probably sell your house for $550,000. And the reason I'm that detailed is because I've missed it one time. And that's the last time I'll ever miss anything like that. You know, it would have been a perfect listing presentation over the phone. And the guy was like, oh, sorry, buddy, bye-bye. I missed this house by over $500,000. So never, ever again. So that's the way I do my listing presentations.
Awesome. Let's give Jimmy a hand.
All right, Jimmy. Up at the park.
Amazing.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Jimmy.
Everything Ron and Jimmy said, that's what I do.
Check,
So
check.
for real.
How about one of the ladies? Let's bring up one of the ladies next.
I'll go.
Okay. All right. Okay. Good.
Okay. If you can put my presentation on the screen.
Yes.
We'll just go through that real quick. Hi, everyone.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, Linda.
Hey, Linda.
Quiet storm.
Hey, Linda.
Quiet storm.
Linda.
A house.
So initially, before I even go to the home, these are certain things that I bring with me. I bring a copy of the CMA. I bring also a copy of my previous marketing materials that I've done, like postcards, brochures, and things like that from previous listings. I also bring the tax record. I also bring my photographer and videographer brochure so they can see who they will be when they come into the home.
Nice.
I also bring the seller's net sheet.
Awesome.
And then before I get into the house, I'm going around the house. I'm looking at the roof, like Rod said. I'm looking to see if there's any discrepancies, like do they need power washing? If there's a window that may be broken that they didn't even notice about. So take a look around the house, make sure you don't see anything. And I just put that in my notes, something to go over when we're talking at the table. So I go and I introduce myself and I let them leave. Where would you like me to sit? You know, I introduce myself, I hand them my business card so they know who I am. And then usually they bring me to the table because I like to talk at the table first. Because then at the end, then I'll go over the house. That way we have a good conversation and we're not rushing. And we already talked about the big things that were important. So in my brochure, I give them a copy of the brochure. I print it out of the presentation. And then I briefly go over. I usually don't do it word for word, but touch out the key points because it provides information about myself, who I am, where I'm located. Now, I have noticed, like when I'm going to different locations, I'll change the city that's closer to the, like say I went to Arlington and I say our nearest office next to you would be the Regus office in Alexandria. So then I change and put base in Alexandria. So they know I'm not too far. Because some of them will look at staff and say, you're way down there. You know what I mean? So I just put the offices that are closest to them. And it tells personally a little bit about me, what I like to do, just in case they may have the same interests. Next slide, Rod. And I like this EXP slide because it touches on key points that you want to ask. Like in case I forget, what are the favorite features in your home? What do you like about your neighborhood? What is the closest attractions to you? And sometimes I already know that information, but sometimes they may tell me something that I may not know. And then also ask them, you know, what drew you to your home? What made you choose this home? And why are you moving? When are you planning, you know, where are you relocating, just in case I need to get them an agent at their next location? And next slide, Rod. I talked about that. When are you planning to move? Why do you need to move? Looking for an agent. Do you know where your deed is? And that's a big thing I like to ask them because, you know, well, I don't know. Like you get to the house, you got both of them there. I got the tax record, but only one of you are on the tax record. Okay, so do we have the deed? Did you change the deed later? Like maybe did you change the title after 2 weeks after you closed? So maybe your wife was added on the deed later. You have a lot of that with military. Sometimes you get the spouse and he's on the VA loan. And so he's only on the deed. And then later he may have went and put the wife on the deed. So you definitely want to ask them, where is your deed? Because that's an important piece of paper that you need. And then also that helps when you talk to the title company too. Next slide, please.
That's good.
And then I talk about what sets me apart from other agents, you know, around the location, about my experience being 15 years in the business, knowing the location, military vet, traveled all over the world, connection with different contractors if you need any work done to your home, and different things that EXP uses for as far as technology, and that, you know, we're nation and worldwide. And so that's a great plus to know that when we market your property, it's going all over.
Hey, hey, Linda, can I interject here? Because as a new agent, that used to be a stumbling block for me, you know, talking about, because I don't have that experience. And so for the new agents on here, when you get to that point, I would reference whatever professional experience you have. So, you know, for me, I just talk about my, you know, my 24 years or 25 years as an IT project manager. I'm bringing organizational skills to the table, as well as my observation skills and my professionalism. So, you know, you may highlight that versus, you know, your years in the business. That's, you know, I just want to throw that in there.
Okay. Yeah, touch on your expertise, like Tasha said, and other things, and also I talk about my team. You know, we have a great team network of people who have different, all kinds of businesses and everything. So if you need anything that's not even real estate, we have someone that may assist you in those areas.
Awesome.
The next screen talks about the expertise, and also that I'm upfront. I'm very honest, you know, so if you feel that after we go over the CMA, we're looking at the prices and everything. And so then I ask, okay, so what were you thinking? What do you think your home will sell for? This is what I have, and this is my suggestion. And sometimes if they're overpriced, and I said, well, we can start where you want to be, but if it's not getting any traffic, I recommend that we reduce the price in 2 weeks. So I'm just not trying to sway them from not listing, but I do tell them that if it's not getting any traffic, that we will need to reduce the price in 2 weeks. And this also talks about how I stay on training. I stay educated, you know, going to training, different designations that I may have, but I pretty much want to talk about the property, so I don't really stay on me too much. And the next slide talks about my testimonials, just a couple of people. I put only 2 in there, not a lot of the testimonials on there, just to say, you know, what people have said about me. And then also in there, I include the past recent sales that I had, so they can see what I've done and where those were located, and tells them the price range that I'm selling at as well. And the next one, Rod. And then it talks about what a realtor means to them. Nora has a perfect realtor brochure. It tells them what the, I can't remember what it's called right now, but it talks about what a realtor is, what their duties are, and why you need a realtor, and why you should sign an agreement. So that's a great tool to bring too, because I leave that in the folder too as well. And it's on the NAR website.
Awesome.
The next slide provides the seller's roadmap. Sorry, I talk about EXP. You're right, Rod. How we started, when we were established. I talk about our CEO and tell them a little bit what we do in the community as well, the charities we do and things that we host. And then I also talk about the Dream Team, what we do locally to try to support communities in our area.
Awesome.
This one just talks about when you sell this home, it's no longer going to be your home. So I know it may be personal, but we just need to get forward and to move, and how we're going to produce your home to sell. And try to, like, sometimes I walk in a home and I think they just have too much personal stuff out there. And so I said, sometime you may want to depersonalize your home, and you definitely want to declutter. So I do point those out.
That's good.
And then the next one talks about the seller's roadmap. So this is perfect. So now they can see what's the process. So you met with me as a professional. Now we're going to prepare your home to sell. And then I'll talk to them about, you know, we're in a market now where there's low inventory. So we may have multiple offers. We'll talk about negotiation and how we're going to respond to the multiple offers when we do get them. And that we sit down at the table, or we have a conversation by phone, and we discuss which offer we're going to accept and establish the price. And then we talk about also how we're gonna list your home for sale, what's the under contract process, and what's the closing day. Because a lot of them ask, okay, so we're gonna go to closing. How do I get my funds before I close? You know, do I need to have a bank account, a checking account? How does that work? Sometimes you may have couples who may decide, okay, he's going to be in a different state or so. Is there a way we can send half the money to him or do something like that? And that's when I put the title companies involved. And so sometimes I may be calling NBH Sullivan, that's the attorney right there. This is the situation that we have. And that way, can you assist? That way they can see we do already have the title company that we're working with, and I can call them on the drop of a dime.
That's awesome.
Price. I talked about price. Definitely, we want to stay close to what the market is doing. And if we overprice, just, you know, keep in mind that we may have to readjust in a couple of weeks. But the greatest thing, we want to list first the right price. So that's
nice. Love it.
Nice.
Then the next one, talk about the comps. We talked about the comps. We talked about the tax record. This is a big thing because sometimes they may put an extra bedroom in the basement and it may have been done with a permit, but the county has not updated. So then they have to contact the county, ask them to come back out and reassess the property. And so that can bring that value up too, to get the price that they want.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
So Linda, have you run into unpermitted work being done in the house? How do you handle that?
Usually, yes, I do run into that a lot. And so I do let them know. Sometimes you may get an agent who may have a buyer and say, I want to know if this property was done with the permit. And so if they call the county and they don't see a permit, then they know that you did not do the work, you know, with the permit. And so you have to think about those things.
Yeah.
So they may be funny on what they want to offer you as a price because you did not have the basement done with permit.
That's right.
And then I talk about marketing your property. I talk about we'll put in the Bright MLS, but I also talk about different things that I do that may be differently. Putting in military by owner, some other sites that I use, realbird.com. So that way it's touching all these other websites and then the EXP sites and it's getting more traffic. So tell them other things you do outside the Bright MLS. About the marketing materials, I do the postcards, we do brochures, send out the just listed, and talk to the neighbors, let them know the properties on the market as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Facts versus fiction. When it comes to the online marketing, many agents will try to convince you that they have secret sauce. Well, is there a really secret sauce? Because everybody's primarily doing the same thing, you know, but what makes us different is touching those other sites that the other agents may not use, because sometimes those come with the costs. So everybody else may be using the free resources to market your property, but I may be doing the extra to go above and beyond.
Nice.
Let's see. It talks about the brand. They'll have a brand website, the brand advertising, virtual tours when we're not in COVID, professional photos, yard signs, flyers, and the social media, different things I would do to market the property as well. And then we talk about getting started and asking if they have any questions, any concerns, anything that I need to know. And this is where I usually ask them, when was the last time you had your HVAC service? How old is your water heater? How old is your HVAC system? Have you had that serviced? Anything that I need to know that, you know, they may have a concern. Because sometimes I went to a house last week and she was like, well, you know, years ago, she had a flood in her basement. And so, but she said, I had it painted and I had it fixed and everything. So just address those questions that they may have, of things that they may have done, or if there was an issue, because she was like, well, do you think that'll be a concern? Well, I said, if you've had it repaired and you had it repainted, it shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
Good, good.
And that's it. That's primarily what I
do. That's awesome.
Linda.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
That is awesome.
You are hired. You're hired, Linda.
I say something. Can I point something out real quick?
Wow.
Can I point something out real quick?
Next listing appointment.
One thing real quick on what Linda was saying, right? What's the secret sauce and how do you separate yourself? For all new agents and for all of us vets, right? This is where you distinguish yourself by, for example, when she was saying that, what is it that you've done? Because you are responsible. If you know if you know about any kind of like material defects or things like
Yes.
that, you need to know. And this is also where you distinguish yourself, where you're charging them that 6%. So
Yes.
they're talking to you about the fact that, oh, there was a time that there was a flood or whatever, or they're even talking about, let's use that example that she said. They did a bedroom in the basement and they don't have a permit or they don't know anything about. How do I allay their fears instantly for them to hire me? Ma'am, sir, don't worry about it. I'm going to get you the information of how you can get that updated. I don't want you to go and search. I don't want you to go. I'm going to get you that information when I get out of here.
Yeah.
That way they know they're not dealing with someone that wants to charge them 1% that is going to make them do every single thing. They have a busy life. I'll do the work for you. That goes a long way with sellers. They're like, you know what? I didn't have to do anything. Now you've earned your income. So that's part of the secret sauce that she's talking about there. And that's awesome. Awesome, Linda. Thank you.
Hey, I have a question though I have a question for the chief agents on this. So for unpermitted work, what is the process for handling that from a listing perspective?
Can you say that again? We could hardly hear you, Natasha.
For unpermitted work, what is the process for handling that in a listing if you run into it? So if they had work done to the house, but it didn't pull a permit, how do you handle that?
So states will be different. You need to know what your state allows.
Yeah.
That's the important thing. Because don't forget, we are realtors.
Yeah.
We are not lawyers, plumbers, attorneys, any of those things. So it depends on what your state does. What I will do, like for example, in Maryland, if I have a client that says, oh no, my cousin just did the basement, whatever. So now I'm like, you need to find out the legality of that. But what I can do for you is based on what I'm looking at, if it meets the standard of a bedroom or anything like that, I will list it as that. That's what the state permits. But you can actually, you manage the expectation and say to them, if they ask for the permit and if you don't have it, then you don't expect to get the value for that.
Yeah.
So that's how you manage that. Now, if you want to get the value for it, because don't forget, this CMA is based on the fact that you said it's 5 bedrooms. I see it's 5 bedrooms. I see there are 5 bedrooms in there. There's a legal window in there. It's got vents. He has closet. He meets all those standards. So that's what this is based off of. However, if it's not permitted, you either need to go to the county. I'll get you the information and go get whatever they need you to get to make it legal, to say it's done. That will be the process that you need to do, but you got to tell them that and manage that if someone now comes and you don't get this information, it could drop the value of your house. It could drop what you get. Yeah, that's important. But I'm not an attorney.
Right. Let's start a blog on or a topic in our Dream Team Nation on that topic, and we'll put some answers in there for you. But we got to keep moving, guys, because we got 3 other presentations. Pam, or
can I just ask a quick question?
Can I go next?
Can I just?
Oh, Pam, go ahead.
I know Pam has to leave.
Sorry, Pam. I just have a quick question for Linda. Linda, when you do that presentation, are you doing that from a computer or are you giving a hard copy?
I bring the hard copy.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have also one more quick question. So Linda, what's the timing? How long do you set your appointments for and how long does it take you to do your presentation?
My presentation, I usually keep under 20 to 30 minutes because the rest of the time I'm going to spend walking around the house and having a conversation and talking with them. So I try to keep the presentation less than 30 minutes.
Awesome.
Excuse me, Linda, can you share those slides, Linda?
Yeah, it's going to be uploaded.
Okay. We talked about that. Yeah.
Dream Team Nation. It'll be there this morning. Okay, Pam, go ahead. You got floor is yours.
So I'm gonna talk from a little bit different perspective because I went back and looked at all my transactions for the past year. Well, really for the past couple of years, and 100% of my transactions were from my SOI and referrals. So 86% of my transactions were people I knew in my SOI. The other 24% were referrals from those same people.
Wow.
Okay, or past clients. So my when I'm going to a listing presentation, first of all, the easy piece is I know you already. All right. So my challenge, of course, is bringing my professionalism so they get to see me in a different light than the choir director or the Sunday school teacher. You know, that's not who I am going to the house. So a few things that I've heard that I do as well. I like to go stealth and look at the house. I'm going to drive through the neighborhood in advance because I want to see, you know, the great points of the neighborhood that I want to highlight in my presentation. I want to talk about HOA plans. If there's something going on that's a negative in that community, I want to be able to address it with my client and ask, you know, what is your HOA doing about this? All right. And I do the walk around of the house, look at the roof, all those things, and the yard. So when I go into the home, you know, and I'm greeting these folks that I know, you know, I want to see the house. That my first thing is, let's go on a tour. Let's show me your house. And I want to set them at ease. I always tell them, I'm not looking at how you live. I'm looking at the house. I'm looking at the systems. I'm looking at, you know, the things that you've done to the house. And I tell them up front that I'm going to take notes, and I may take a picture or two just so that I won't forget things. All right. Especially during COVID, I don't want to make multiple visits to the house to try to remember all these great things in the house. So I want to document them. I have my notepad. I use my phone camera. I don't have a special one. So I'm taking the pictures, we're talking, and they're telling me about the house. You know, usually if there's something that's not working well, they disclose that, you know, so I already know what's going on in the house. And something funny, I guess I kind of fell into the niche of I'm fixer. You know, usually the folks that I'm talking to have been planning to do renovations or planning to do something to their home. So I bring my resources to the table. You know, I let them know I am a full service agent, and I have all of that. You know, I try to make sure that I'm setting them at ease because I am presumptively the listing agent. Yes. You know, I never say anything about can you, will you, are you gonna?
Yes.
Yeah.
I assume I am the person. Okay. Yeah. And by the time we're done with the tour, I know everything there is to know about the house. And we sit down, and now I've already done homework. Now we talked about this, and I will tell you that Linda spoke about getting that tax document, and Jimmy talked about the unpermitted work. I will tell you that one of my referrals from this past year had no idea what was on her tax document. She owned a townhouse, and it was set up for 2 bedrooms and a big open space. The tax document said it was a 3-bedroom. And you know what I did? I said, hey, I have a contractor. Let's make this a bedroom. That's and right. we can get more money for your home that you're going to sell. So we made a 3rd bedroom and marketed and advertised it as a 3rd bedroom is under contract in 24 hours. Woo. You know, that's the type of story that I like to sit down and tell these clients that already know me in my Sunday, Wednesday, Friday at the church and evangelizing roles, but don't know me as the realtor. You know, so don't forget, you know, tell 1 or 2 stories about your past performance that you want to share, you know, with these folks that you're going to sell their home. So we've done the tour. In my homework, I've done the market analysis. I do a MLS neighborhood export. So I know everything that's happened in the 6 months to a year, depending upon the sales in the neighborhood, what they've sold at, whether or not they've had concessions, seller concessions, you know, from the seller. So I know about the prices. I know about those things. I even look at the pictures of those homes to see what improvements they've done. Okay. So I can set the client expectations because they're talking about, I want to put granite here. I want to do this there. No, so-and-so house down the street. So they didn't do all that. They had great price, you know? So I also tell them, hey, I'm spending your money like it's mine, you know, and I don't want to spend money I don't have to spend when I can put all this change back in my pocket, you know? So I'm really straight up no chaser. when I tell them about, the process and the things that I expect and what I'm going to do, I emphasize the fact that I work for you. I am your resource. We go through, of course, the timeline. I love working with the timeline because, especially if you're working with a buyer seller, oh my goodness, seller who is going to buy, their concern is where we're going to go, what we're going to do. If you go to that meeting and you have some of those resources with you, so you can talk about options, you're increasing their comfort, you're increasing their confidence in your ability to list their house, sell their house. Yes, I talk about my marketing plan, the photographer. I love, Linda said she has a flyer about her photographer. So I do that as well, because you want to, so many times you see these listings with these terrible pictures. So you want to talk about showing the home in its best light. I talk about the fact that I'm going to do my own staging with the house. I will go through, I offer the service of walking through the house and saying, let's move this, let's take this out. Is this going to make your life easier or difficult? Do you need this? I ask those questions, that show that I'm working for them, but they are still in control. Now, I never want to make decisions for them, but I do want to help them make good decisions, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And I bring my CMA with me. I bring that neighborhood spreadsheet that I did, information about the community. And I have a copy of that so that I leave that with them. But it's a conversation, because I've already, learned the facts already. I have my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I make sure that I'm making room for questions. What do you want to know? What are your concerns about getting ready to list your home? All right. And I do, in most times, if there's work to be done, I always offer to be that project manager if needed, especially for folks who I've never done this before. I don't know anything about this. I offer to make a referral. I tell them about people that I've done work with, offer my services to introduce them. I never bring anybody into their house and just assume they're going to hire that person. I make sure it's an appointment to have an introduction. They talk about estimates. And many times we may get up to 3 estimates, and the best estimate and the best contractor gets the job. I make myself available for spot checks on that contractor. I also, if the house is vacant, I make periodic stops by. I want to make sure nobody's leaving their doors open or turning the heat way down. I had a situation where a contractor turned the heat up real high. And the clients were like, we got to pay this electric bill on this house until we sell it. So we want it at moderate, at a moderate setting. So I communicate with those resources that I bring into the house. And then, of course, before I'm leaving the appointment, I'm talking about the process, where we're going to go from here. I set the expectations about what we're going to do next and what you can expect from me. And I tell them, I don't expect you to memorize all this. I'm going to bring it back to your attention. The last thing I do is I have an agreement with me. I have an agreement printed out that we can go over quickly, and I also have it ready in my phone so I can just send it to them. Okay, so they can electronically sign it, and then they have that copy with them. So I like to leave with having that agreement signed, or setting the expectation that it's going to be in your inbox. If I don't have it with me this afternoon, I'll be available to answer questions and get it signed so we can get to the listing of the home.
Nice.
So that's what I do.
That's awesome. Wow, that's awesome, Pam. Give Pam a hand.
All right.
Pam.
Rock stars.
Hey, Pam, you're hired again.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Funnily that this it's funny that this listing presentation came about today, because I have been gently coaching this couple that I know that are ready to sell their house to get a listing appointment with them. And it's important to know who has the power in the relationship. because I have the closer relationship with the wife. She goes to church with me, okay? And we have been talking, but she let me know early on that her husband was the decision maker. He called me yesterday morning. He says, Pam, we're ready to sell our house. When can you come over? And I said, tomorrow, okay? I'm going over there at 11 o'clock today.
That is awesome.
Congratulations, Pam.
Yes, that's important when you work with your SOI. You got to stay in contact with them. You got to be available for them. If they tell you there's a possibility of selling their house, you need to go step, get that tax information, get that neighborhood information so that you can be very reactive when they are ready for the appointment.
Wow.
Well, I have a quick testimony for Pam because I called her yesterday out of the blue, asking her about Potomac Shores. And she's like, yeah, I'm trying to learn about Potomac Shores. And next thing you know, she knew the ins and outs and everything and walked me through everything. And I'm like, what do you mean you're trying to learn about Potomac Shores? You know everything. She was amazing.
Hour. It was so good, Arlene.
It was.
Yes.
I enjoyed our talk. But
Yes,
you impressed me. You impressed me. I was like, I would have hired her right there to sell a Potomac Shores home. So good job, Pam.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate you.
Congrats.
Hey, and Pam got one coming to market in Potomac Shores too, but y'all hold off on that because I'm gonna try to get that before it goes.
I'm gonna make sure you know in advance, Bryson.
Lisa has a question.
I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in the case that you're a new agent, and so if they ask you either from a seller or a buyer, if they ask you how many houses have you sold, or you know, what is your experience? So what do you tell the buyer or the seller?
Well, you know, I'm honest. I will be honest with them. Hey, you know, congratulations. You are actually my very first formal client, but I've been prepared for this and prepped for this. And my mentor or my team is going to be with me in getting this done. You're not going to see any negativity in terms of marketing or presentation or timing, because I have an awesome team that supports me. If you have any questions, you want to speak with my mentor, it's like you're going to get 2 and 3 or 4 agents in one for the price of one.
Hey,
Awesome.
and can I say this and for new agents, don't be afraid of that question. Honestly, in my 2 years in the business, I have only had one person, and that was last week, ask me that question.
Yep.
And really, people don't ask that unless they're really, 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 really high C.
Yeah.
And they are into the details. And with that, I back that up with my credentials. So I have a ton of real estate credentials I can show them. So that, you know, you want to, even if you don't have those credentials, your team does. So you want to be able to highlight that as well.
Yeah. Okay. And you know, one of the ways to not get them to ask you that question, all right, is present those credentials before they can ask those questions. Okay. I'm a part of a team that we sold $120 million in volume in 2021. Okay. Nobody's going to ask you if you're a new agent and y'all have sold $120 million in production. And that's not a question they're going to ask.
That's right.
Also, just to add to what everybody else is saying, just go in with confidence. If you are displaying, you know, the utmost confidence and abilities within yourself, and, you know, and if you need to lean on your team, you could do that as well. But if you go in there and, you know, you're unprepared, then they're going to pick that apart. But if you show very confident in my abilities, then that question usually does not even come up. Rehearse your listing presentation, rehearse your comp. Just be very knowledgeable in regards to the neighborhood and, you know, the so that would be the kind of advice that I would give.
That's awesome.
Hey, Dr. B, I actually just had that question asked. Oh, go ahead.
Guys, it's the top of the hour. Now, hold on one second, Bryson. Should we make this a part 2? Because we still got real deal.
Yes, we should.
We need to make it a part 2.
Arlene's a luxury agent. Cam just listed $2 million properties, and he's got another one coming.
Yes.
I think we should make this a part 2 with another set of panels.
Agreed.
Yes.
Next
I
Friday.
agree.
I concur.
Okay. So Real Deal, hold off. Arlene, hold off. Cam, get ready for next week.
Yes, yes.
Natasha, get
Cam
ready.
got voluntold.
Rodney, hold out.
It's totally fine. I'm used to it. 8 years in the
Rodney,
Marine
hold
Corps.
out. Y'all need to hold out.
Marine Corps, right?
Yes.
So,
He
Hey,
knows
Rob,
all about that.
Before we close out, can any of you guys provide your thoughts on having clients remove like personal photographs, like family photographs? Should you do that, or what are
Personally,
your thoughts?
Personally, I always have them remove them because you don't know who's going to be I tell them you don't know who's going to be walking through your home.
Yeah.
And especially if you have kids, you're exposing them to, you don't know who. So that's a big pet peeve of mine. Remove like all those beautiful pictures of your babies and all of that stuff. Please, I would recommend, because the home, you're preparing to move out the house.
Yeah. Same
Also, take in consideration, Google is a very powerful tool. So you can find just about anything. You can find kids' schools, and
they know
next thing you know, you got a van driving around.
Yep.
Do you guys think it might also create some kind of bias as well?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
There's a potential for that. And I was in a situation like that. You need to be prepared to have that discussion with your clients that refuse to remove certain things. Because I had a client who said, I don't want to take down my art. I don't want to take down my pictures. So I shared with her, the potential. All right. And I talked to the appraiser.
I was just going to say the appraisal as well.
And the house actually appraised for way more than we ever anticipated.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a case by case basis. But I do advise them to remove
definitely
things
want
as
to.
possible. Because you want the house to be vanilla. You want it to be that potential
Neutral.
buyer to come in and say, "Oh, I can live right here."
That's
This I can get here.
For so many reasons, you want to tell them to declutter as best as possible,
Definitely declutter.
and do it from a standpoint of being neutral as well. Don't create any bias in their minds.
Yeah.
So to make that practical, a bias will be this: we all know this is happening in the market because it's national news now. So a bias will be saying, "Oh, I want you to take him down because you don't want an appraiser coming in and giving you less value." That's a bias.
Yeah, you don't want to say
A better
that.
way to say it will be awesome if you take these things down and declutter them so that you can allow the next buyer to come in to be able to see, a blank space so that they can create their own memories, and your clients are not going to take offense to that. They're not going to feel whatever, and it makes it easier for them to be, you know what, that's right. That makes sense. Because we've got to be very careful all around the way we handle things, in presentation to people.
That's right.
I've even offered to replace some art at some times. I have some things that I keep because I do my own staging. So I'll go in and I may put something in place of something just so that they won't, feel strange about having to take some things down. So
awesome.
A little bit of flexibility.
You're going to take it when you leave anyway.
Yeah,
it's not your house anymore.
So what we're gonna do also, guys, we're gonna create a survey form for questions, and we'll post it in Dream Team Nation and on our WhatsApp. This form, you can go out there and put your questions in, and we'll get those questions answered in part 2, guys. Part 2 next Friday. So get it out to all your agents, all your agent partners, guys.
That's
We'll be
right
back here next week. Part 2 on listing presentations that work. Just a quick announcement, guys. You see our flyer. Can y'all see the flyer that's up? Post, guys. It's out there. Go to www.explainexp.com. Register. Even our Dream Team, you need to register to get the link and all that. But this Sunday, 7 p.m., we're going to be going live talking about eXp Realty, how it's changing lives, how, even us at, Dream Team, we sold over 130 million in sales, and how we're going to do over 200 million this year, how this company has created millionaires right here on this Zoom, multiple streams of income. So we're going to be putting it down, guys. You get to hear some testimonies of other agents of how their lives have been impacted since they've come over to eXp Realty. So this Sunday, guys, we need everybody on. Even if you don't have a guest, come and join us. We're going to be just like this, guys. We want to pack out the room to make it look just like this.
Yeah.
Come out, support your fellow agents who may have guests on and want to hear about this amazing company, eXp Realty. And also Tuesday night at 6 p.m., we've got another flyer coming out that has both times on it, but it's the same registration, explainexp.com. All right, guys, any of our leaders, did I miss anything? Any of our leadership team?
Can I add one last thing, Rod, if you don't mind?
Yes.
I got a listing going active tomorrow. 116 Short Branch, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bath. Beautiful home in Woodstream behind Lowe's and Stafford, and we are listing at 440.
Nice.
Bring your buyers.
What about your Glenn's listing, Cam? When are you going live with that?
That's going live next Friday, the 28th.
Okay.
You go,
Is it okay for you other agents to market your listings?
Yeah, that the more the merrier.
So guys, you got awesome listings coming on the market right here in the Dream Team, right in the family that you go and boost them. When he posts that 1.4 million, guys, I'm gonna be marketing it like crazy.
So am I down in Georgia.
Yeah.
In Richmond.
Can I say something real quick? Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, right.
Property boost. Hey, I property boost my listing in Embry Mills, and the day that I boosted it, it went under contract. I'm still getting leads from that boost.
Wow!
Nice, so, congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
Wow!
As I get them, I'll call them, and so far I've gotten like 10 leads. Of them.
Congratulations, buddy.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
So I say all that. Say if you do the property boost,
property boost. Absolutely.
Yes.
Awesome. Hey guys, I'm sharing.
Hey Rod, before we jump off, we have a brand new agent that joined up under Tina. Her name is Crystal. She just got her license this week, and she just became a part of the Dream Team.
Hey,
working out all the
welcome.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Crystal. Welcome.
Congratulations, Crystal.
Thank you.
Make sure we get Crystal plugged into the Dream Team Nation and
yes.
on our WhatsApp. Awesome, Crystal. Welcome. Get ready for an amazing ride. Get ready for this 2022 is going to be your best year ever. We're going to push you.
Yes.
Let's do it. Make sure Natasha do a goal setting with her. See what she wants to accomplish. And sky's the limit. Don't worry about it. You heard it on this call. Don't worry about being a new agent. Just got your license. You're rolling with a pack now. You're rolling with a tribe.
That's right.
So you tell us what you want to make this year, and we'll get behind you and make it happen.
That's right.
All right. Woo! Guys, the Dream Team Nation, it is growing, guys. We got a lot of content. I want to thank everybody who's been going out there adding content, adding information, but it's starting to look amazing, guys. Have y'all been out there? Everybody's a member. I want to make sure you all have.
Oh, yeah.
This is Dream Team. So we got all of our events out there. You can see the upcoming events. Information about everything. We're constantly filling this up with information, topic, and contents, guys. Topics and content. So definitely. So continue to go out there and add any of your information, any links, resources, contractors, everything. Okay. Is anybody here to hear the presentation? Does anybody have a guest that want to hear about eXp Realty? We're going to transition over to.
I have a guest on.
Okay.
Michael Edwards is the guest. He's an agent. We work together at Metro Brokers, which is